propagandist, that is Itombe, wrote, and it's there, I have a copy, I will give it to you.
I remember, yes.
That I'm asking for 6.5 billion. Okay?
Sure.
His Mr. Fix-It, Kimani Ichong'wa, went to Europe in an interview and said, I'm asking for 8 billion. William Ruto says, I'm asking for 10 billion. Between his Mr. Fix-It and his chief propagandist and William Ruto, can't they sit down and agree the figure that Gachagwa is supposed to have asked for? So I want to explain to you that there is nothing like that. It was just a narrative he wanted to bring to the mountain because he needed to explain to them. Because he committed himself that he would never humiliate his deputy. He went beyond "got rid of me." He needed something to tell the people of the mountain. But of course, everybody knows it's a lie, because if that was true, it should have come in the impeachment. Again, let me tell you, Rogers.
But I have to ask you, because you're equally on record in public mentioning that President William Ruto offered you 2 billion Kenya shillings to resign ahead of the impeachment in October.
Yes.
So isn't that a counter-narrative?
No. I talked before. He talked the other day. Okay. I have not talked after he has talked.
So your claims are true?
I said he talked to me. He sent a very senior officer in government. When he called me myself when we disagreed, and said, I cannot work with you. I would like you to resign. And if you don't, I'll impeach you. And later on in the interview, I'll tell you why we disagreed. And he said, instead of you going home empty-handed, and since you assisted me, I would like you to go with your retirement package, and I can get you some money to get you started off, like 1.5, 2 billion. I told him to go to hell. I'm not interested. I'm priceless. And that kind of money, you know I have. You know how much I funded your campaign. I am not a man to be given 2 billion shillings. You know what kind of money I am into. And therefore, I said, fine. He sent a very senior officer to come and see me. On Thursday, when the National Assembly resolved that I should be impeached by going to the Senate, that Friday morning, he sent a very senior officer to come and see me. And he gave me his terms. And again, it's my ethics, because I don't record people. I recorded that conversation, giving me that offer from the president. I have that record. Okay?
So the senior official was speaking for the president?
Yeah, he sent me. The following day.
But you know the burden of proof lies with the accuser. We need to see this.
No problem. Okay. No problem. The following day, he told the officer I should go and have a discussion with him. And I refused to go to State House. He suggested I go to his hotel, the Western Hotel. I refused. And we met somewhere along State House Road in one of the safe houses run by the National Intelligence Service. And between me, that officer, and myself, we had a discussion with the president. Again, I recorded that conversation for posterity, because I know William Ruto. I put it on record. Again, he gave me that offer. I told him I'll think about it. I didn't want to have a fight with him because it was not necessary. That officer persuaded me that I should listen to the president. And because he's a man from home, he said, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, just listen to what he has to say.
Who is this officer?
No, I don't want to.
For the sake of our public, you call for an interview, you have to.
Let me explain. So I said no, I declined. The day I went to the Senate, the first day, that officer again was dispatched by the president. And I refused to see him, but after consultation with my counsels, I agreed to see him. Again, he brought me another offer. I recorded it. I am very conflicted. That officer is an innocent man. He's an emissary of the president. He is in service. If I expose him now, he will lose his job. He will be in very difficult circumstances. So on discussion with my family and lawyers, we have agreed that when he retires, and it's not very long from now, we'll be able to release that information. And I've done that because I know his family, and I don't want to jeopardize his position. And because he did not come on his free will, he serves the president, and he cannot be able to argue with him. I'll have that information. It is ready, it's well stored, and I would like to tell these people not to try to come and read here to get it. It's not here. I've stored it nicely with somewhere, and it's in good position.
Allow me to reel you in, because you're a truthful man, as you say. At the end of the day, if you're giving us allegations, you have to substantiate.
I don't understand. I have told you, because when the president went to that interview, he was asked to substantiate. He refused to substantiate. I have done a lot of substantiation. I've explained to you why I don't want to receive the information now. But I will release the information because it's for public information, so that between me and the president, the people can know who is right and who is not right, and who is lying to the people of Kenya.
You know what your critics are saying?
Yeah.
Since you heavily funded the presidential campaigns in the Mount Kenya region, that you're asking of this 10 billion, or is it 6.5 billion, whichever the figure, was simply a way of returning your investment. You well know how politics in Kenya
I don't think so, because when I was funding the president, there was no issue. If I needed my money back from him or whatever it is, we'll discuss. I have not asked the president to refund me any money. I'm a leader. That was an investment in the presidential campaign. He was president, I was running it. I too had a responsibility, to spend money on the campaign. And that's why I'm saying I'm not the kind of person to ask him for money. And he knows that, because I'm an astute businessman who have worked for many years and made my own money. And I was in the campaign on my own violation. The president did not force me to be the campaign. I spent my money because I thought it's the right thing to do. I mobilized resources from friends, and I did not ask him. And if I had asked him, he should have said then. He cannot say now, 6 months after. He would have called a meeting of UDA, the PG, put me to task and say, Rigiji here is asking me for this. He would have called some elders, some church people. He never did any of those things, because that is how you do those things.
Okay.
But myself, when he offered me an offer to resign, I talked about it. I did not waste time. I talked about it because that is a situation.
But it's still a narrative. We'd like to substantiate this claim, sir.
I have told you what I need to tell you. And the long and short of it all is that the president wanted to create a narrative with the mountain. And you see, these mountain people are looking at him very closely, because the things he said about me are not the things he is saying today. Okay? When he said I should be his running mate in Karen on May 15th, he had this to say. There were so many other instruments. I looked at many things. I looked at what was required of a deputy president. In the end, we all settled as a team on Gachagwa, because he's an astute debater, a fantastic grassroots mobilizer, a disciplined and tireless political operative, a successful elected politician and businessman, a principled politician of tremendous resilience and fearless fighter for the right cause, an indefatigable champion. Gachagwa is a self-made man, a politician of repute, and a public servant whose sole goal is to help others. Gachagwa is a very passionate leader, a people's person. He speaks about the ordinary people and is concerned about matters to do with farmers. What I like about him is his passion for people issues. He's one of those leaders who are passionate about ordinary people. He's a living example of a true hustler. Then the president is here telling the people of the mountain, the man you gave me is a blackmailer. He goes to Western, he says, man is a tribalist. He goes to Nyanza, he says, this man is a primitive. Give me a break. Military skills to mobilize votes for him, when he wanted me to articulate people-based issues. Yet, when I say don't demolish houses for innocent people, he says I'm fighting his government. Yet, he was saying I stand for people issues. So I am saying that the mountain people, you can condemn once. You can't condemn twice. What they are saying, William Ruto, you successfully persuaded us to fight our own son, Uhuru Kenyatta. Please, you cannot persuade us to fight Rigathi Gachagua, because we now know you. You came and told us that Uhuru Kenyatta is bad because he is working with Raila Odinga. And Raila Odinga is a very mad man and a very dangerous man, the Lord of Poverty. Today, this is for him everywhere. Then the mountain people are looking at him and saying, is this the same man who made us hate Uhuru Kenyatta because he was working with Raila Odinga? Today, he is singing praises for Raila Odinga, taking him all over Africa to be the king of Africa.
Right.
And he wants us now to believe him, that Rigathi Gachagwa wanted 10 billion from him. Is this not the same man who came here and told us that Uhuru Kenyatta is a drunkard? Is he not the same man? Now he is here again, telling us that our son, Rigathi Gachagwa, is incompetent. Our son, Justin Muturi, is incompetent. Our son, Moses Kuria, is corrupt. Our son, Metheka Linturi, is corrupt. Mr. President, I have no capacity to advise you. Nobody can fool the mountain people twice. You fooled them once, they feel very sorry about it. They actually feel very low and very down. I want to assure you, your tricks are now known, your games are known. You will never again in your lifetime make the people of the mountain fight their son or their daughter. They will never do it. You made us hate Uhuru Kenyatta.
Okay.
You made us humiliate him. You told us bad things about him that were not true. You said he was incompetent. You are the one who is incompetent now. It is very clear for everybody. Everybody is incompetent except you. Even now you are saying your new Mr. Yesa is very competent. You are the only one who is competent. Everybody else who disagrees with you, everybody else who has a problem with your modus operandi, anybody else who has a problem with your leadership is incompetent.
Okay.
You are the only competent person in this country.
So, and with all due respect, we'll treat what you've said earlier on as allegations because you still haven't substantiated them. I have to ask you this because it's a multi-pronged question. When exactly did your friendship, your working relationship with President William Ruto start, and when did the rain start beating it?
Probably before we come to that, you said that he said I fight small people. I don't fight anybody. He says that I was fighting Farouk Kibet. Farouk Kibet is not a small man. He is a co-president in this country. Farouk Kibet runs the government. Everybody reports to him. The Inspector General of Police, the head of public service. Cabinet ministers. William Ruto issues instructions to cabinet ministers tremble at his very sight. So, Farouk Kibet wanted to give instructions to Rigathi Gachagwa. Rigathi Gachagwa was elected by the people of Kenya alongside William Ruto. There is no way I would have allowed Farouk Kibet to give instructions to me. And let me tell you, Rogers, Farouk Kibet was trying to run my office, make appointments for people to come and see me. And initially, I thought it's okay, maybe that's how William Ruto wants us to work, until I learned that Farouk Kibet was collecting money from people to come and see me, and I have nothing to give them in return. And I went and I told the president, Mr. President, I'm your principal assistant. Please, your personal assistant cannot give me instructions. And if you want to give me any instructions, you give them yourself and I obey them to the letter. But you cannot use your PA to order me around. And your PA is taking advantage to make money from people. And I told you, Mr. President, for your information, because I'm your advisor in this matter, I will be failing in my duty if I don't advise you and tell you what is happening.
Okay.
All the people Farouk Kibet is clearing to come and see you, he's collecting money. And there's hue and cry in town. And State House is getting very disrespected because it has become a center of corruption. All appointments of people coming to see you, Kibet is collecting money. And Mr. President, I think you need to check this. But if you want to continue with it, tell him to keep off my office. He is not going to make appointments in my office, and he cannot tell me whom to see.
So can you substantiate this? Farouk Kibet is not here to defend himself.
But the president raised a matter. You asking me for an answer?
Yes, yes.
See, I must give you an answer.
But I'm
not the one.
I've
never raised that issue.
Okay.
It's the president who raised the matter. I'm answering
I'm just
to the people of Kenya.
countering what you've said.
But
You've said that he's the one.
But I'm saying, Rogers, The president said that I'm fighting with small people. The answer is that Farouk Kibet is not a small person.
So you're fighting big people. Fine.
I was not fighting big people.
Yes.
I was telling the president, I'm elected. I'm not going to take instructions from your personal assistant. And I'm not going to allow him to push corruption in my office. If you want him to practice corruption in your office, you can go ahead.
But you just said he was collecting money for people to meet with you.
I learned the few people he had asked me to see. Later on, I heard noise in town that people are going to see the deputy president. Farouk has collected money on his behalf and he's not doing anything for us. That is when I got alarmed. I faced Kibet and he told me off. He said, I must make money. Hii serikali tumetafuta, mimi nimeumia na William Ruto miaka mingi. And actually when I talked to the president about Farouk Kibet, he said, wewe achana na Farouk, atafute pesa kidogo ya kukula bana. Hii mtu ameumia na mimi miaka mingi, akipata hapa kidogo kidogo yuko makosa gani? So I'm the only man who would tell him off.
Okay.
When he says that I'm fighting small people, Itumbi. I don't know Itumbi. You can see the things he was writing about me. And Dennis Itumbi, the chief propagandist for William Ruto. Again, he's not a small man. This government of William Ruto is run by Itumbi and Farouk. This Itumbi, all these statements you see ministers issuing, like the one DCI has issued about the violence yesterday in Mweki. It's Dennis who crafts them. He crafts the messages, and you can see even that is language. He gives them to read. And my problem with that so-called small man is that they work in cohort with the president. And he hangs around State House. And if you have a discussion with the president and he doesn't like the way it is going, he sends him a text, and Dennis walks into the president's office and says, Mr. President, you are late for the next meeting. And the president brings the meeting to a closure. I had not realized that until I studied, I saw there is a pattern. And any time I had many issues with the president that were not pleasant, I would face him and say, this is not right, this is not good, and I would win the argument, and he doesn't like it, and he would like to bring a meeting to a closure. Somehow, Dennis walks in, and I saw a pattern. So one day, we were launching, the president was going to sign, he was going to sign the housing levy law, bill into law. And I was with the president in his office, the two of us, and I had a very hot conversation with him. And I was telling Mr. President, Kenyans are not interested in affordable housing. And people are very unhappy about the taxation. And Mr. President, only a fool doesn't change his mind. Let us relook this thing. And please, from the feedback I'm getting from the ground, and Mr. President, I was elected with you. I mean, it's my job to tell you what the people are saying. And since we are elected together on a joint ticket, when I see we are going down and I don't tell you, it is not fair. Then when we were just continuing, I think he took a phone, Itumbi comes. And he said, Mr. President, we need to go. And I told Itumbi, my friend, next time you interrupt me when I'm with the president, you know who I am. Get off. I am the deputy president. I was elected with the president here. Who are you to come and interrupt our discussion? Do you know what we are discussing? The president just looked and said, I think we go. Okay? So that is how I raised that issue. And I told him, Mr. President, how do you get these people to come and interrupt a meeting with your deputy all the time? So that those are the issues we were saying.
Well noted.
I was fighting with small people.
Just to take you back briefly, because we're stuck of time, how much did you fund President William Ruto's campaigns?
No, I will not go into that. It's not necessary. I don't think I need to go into the details because I was also a candidate.
Okay.
I did not necessarily fund William Ruto. I funded the campaign because I was part of the campaign.
Okay.
And I don't think I need to go into those details.
Then tell me this, when did the rain start beating your friendship? When exactly?
It's not friendship, Lily, but we went into a covenant with the president. And the president was here many times, here in this house, down, beaten, harassed, frustrated, and he would come here for comfort. And my wife would pray for him, and we went a long journey from 2018 all the way to 2022. And I believed him and I trusted him. And since I'm a man of honor, I took his word for what it was. And we agreed many things, but we never wrote anything down. And that is a mistake that I made, that I regret today. And my community, the Mount Kenya people, regret today. But they have forgiven me because William Ruto is very deceptive. To deceive Rigathi Gachagwa is nothing because he deceived bishops, reverends, pastors, everybody, all of us, our own community. A very respectable community were deceived by one man. So I fell for it, and we agreed many things. And I went into it blindly. But as soon as we came in, the man changed completely. And all the things we had agreed, he became very arrogant. He said he's president. He said he'll do whatever he wants. And I can tell you where I started finding things are not right is we had agreed on several portfolios for my people because we had agreed, much as I'm a national leader and I'll be your deputy to assist you to manage the affairs of this country, I'll protect the interests of the Mount Kenya people in your government because they have elected you and they give you 47% of the vote, and it was agreeable. And all the things we had agreed in terms of portfolios, interior, agriculture, water, lands, finance, he honored all those things. Without any reference to them. And I realized he had conned me and the community.
So that's when the issue
started. That is one of the issues. Okay. Number two, he keeps on saying people are tribal. He has accused me of tribalism. When we were appointing PSs, I asked him, since I was a public servant for a long time, we need institutional memory. These PSs are civil servants. Much as they served Uhuru Kenyatta, they are career civil servants. Mr. President, why don't we retain several of them for continuity instead of bringing everybody who is new? He said, no, hiyo watu wa Kwende, hiyo ni watu ya Azimio, ni watu ya Uhuru.
But there were some PSs who were retained.
No, let me explain. Let me explain, let me explain, that's where I am. He said, wa Kwende hiyo watu, sitaki kuwaona, we'll get our own people, they will learn on the job. I said, Mr. President, we are new, me and you, we have just come. If we have new ministers, we have new PSs, the country must continue. Why, please, from my people, from my community, the region, I have 5, 6 people I would like you to retain. And for you, as you can retain what? He said, no, sitaki hiyo watu. Then we are, okay, he overruled me, I kept quiet. Then we worked on it, and we agreed on the list. And we got all new people, okay? And I went home.
All new people?
All new people. In agreement between me and him.
Okay.
I came here. At 7, the list had changed. From his community, he retained 5 PSs. From his community. He retained Belio Kipsang. He retained Julius Koril. He retained Kipto. He retained Kimtai and Dr. Tum. From my region, he retained one guy called Unga. This is not fair. You have started shortchanging me right in the beginning of our government. He told me, wewe Rigathi, wewe ni kumbavu sana. Kama you want to be the appointing authority, my friend, you run for president, you can appoint the PSs you want. This is my government. Now ukwende, and he switched off the phone. That is, and when I hear him
talking,
in
2022.
Yeah, 2022. That was the second month in government. So when I hear him talking about tribalism, that Rigathi Gachagwa is tribal. When you look at the way he reappointed PSs from his community and chased away all of the other PSs from all the other communities, except his own community. When you look at the appointment of CEOs in parastatus, there are more than 60 from his community. And he talks about tribalism. You know, I've heard him saying hatutaki ukabila. hii Kenya ni yetu sisi wote. Sisi bwana hatutaki ukabila. Mnikubalie niunganishe wa Kenya wote. Hii Kenya ni yote sisi zote. Then more than 60 CEOs of parastatals are from his community.
Okay.
That is where I just realized things are not what I thought they would be. And when I tried to talk to him, he was very abusive. And I kept quiet because I didn't want to have a fight with him. I just, played along, and we just continued, And then along the way, he started purging people from my community. He wanted to get rid of the Commissioner General of KRI, Mr. Mburu. And I said, no, Mr. President, we agreed with you that 1 for 1. I mean, if you want to change Mburu because he was Uhuru's, you replace him with somebody else. He said, okay, no problem, let him go, we'll replace him. When the replacement came, he took me around, he gave it to somebody else from another region, and like that. And then we went to Earth Water, he sacked somebody called Engineer Thoita. Okay. Like that, we went to the sports fund, he removed somebody. With the time I realized that he had, in a very calculated manner, having a purge on my people. And I started now fighting back. And I would face him and say, Mr. President, these people from this region voted for you, 47%. You will not be president without their vote. They are asking me questions that I cannot answer. The issue of pending bills, 900 billion. People came to me to see me. And I saw him, I said, Mr. President, for us to improve circulation of money into the economy, why don't we make the payment of pending bills a priority? Sema hiyo watu ni watu ya Uhuru bwana. Hiyo biashara walifanya kwa Uhuru, waende watafute Uhuru walipe. I said, my brother, that was a government that was legal. It was not an illegal government, even if it was headed by Uhuru Kenyatta. Mm-hmm. The liabilities of government under President Uhuru Kenyatta are our liabilities. Money that we have borrowed from foreigners, we are paying, even if it was borrowed Uhuru's time. Mm-hmm. Even this money that our people have worked on, he said, no, wacha tufanye mambo yetu bana. And I just realized that the priority was to do new business so that people can have their cut. They didn't want to pay money for old business because they were not part of it. Those are some of the issues that started giving us problem and we went along.
And thanks for clarifying that, because people might wonder where exactly did the rain start beating. But I have to be the devil's advocate here, Your Excellency, because at the end of the day, the people who still associate you closely with the head of state, since you campaigned for him vehemently before the 2022 general election, and thereafter, that's when, this working relationship was a little bit skewed. To those who equate your complaints the same way as they equate those of a jilted lover, that since you face the axe, now it's obvious that you won't go around praising the head of state.
I didn't start saying I have a problem with him when I was asked. I started saying before, if you remember. On June 25, when policemen massacred our children, the president called a press conference and he did not invite me and say the agencies are criminals who are treasoners. The following day, as deputy president, I called a press conference in Mombasa. And I told him off. I said, these are not criminals. These are our sons and daughters. I had not been jilted. I had not been asked from office. I stood firm. But let me tell you, one of the issues I disagreed with the President William Ruto up to today, and I will never give in, was abductions and extrajudicial killings. I am a father. I am a Christian. I am a husband. I am a leader. I am an elder in my community. Children are our flowers. You cannot kill children because they're asking questions. And the questions they're asking are legitimate. That we are running down the country. That there is too much corruption. That we are not listening to the people. Those young Gen Zs were raising legitimate issues that I had personally raised with the president.
Allow me to interject.
And I can tell you, after that, he accused me of having been behind the Gen Z protest. Okay? And I said I was not behind the Gen Z's protest. But I associated myself with what they were saying despite being deputy president. So you cannot sit here and tell me that I've started raising these issues, you know, because we disagreed or because I left. You remember, in the Senate, there was an accusation against me that I had opposed evictions of people from Nairobi River. I raised that issue when I was deputy president.
True.
There was an accusation that I rejected the haphazard relocation of traders from Wakulima market. I started disagreeing with the president a year ago. Our disagreement around October was the culmination of a whole year of total disagreement.
Okay, but I'll have to voice what critics say. At the end of the day, weren't Live lost during the 2023 Azimio protests? Did you speak vehemently against
it? That time, the first 1 year. The first 1 year.
Briefly, as we take a break, yes.
The first 1 year, I believed in the president. And you heard him excuse me that I was not defending government programs. Wewe kushasikia Rigathi akienda kwa TV kutetea housing program. Wewe umesikia Rigathi akienda kutetea education model. The first 1 year nilikuwa naenda, and there are clips. Until I realized the affordable housing is a fraud. It's a business venture between the president and DEFCI to sell cement, to sell steel, to sell mabati. I stopped defending it.
Well, DEFCI is not here to defend
No, he's not here, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
And I stopped defending it. And even the president tried to tell me to go to TV to defend the housing program. I told him I'll not go. When I learned the university model is not working, and it was very unpopular with the students and parents, I refused to go. So he wanted me to go and defend Adani, which is corruption. I refused to go and defend. He wanted me to go and defend Shah.
Okay.
And it's corruption. I refused.
But
you know,
my
and
question,
I am saying.
Allow me to ask you.
Yes.
Because my question is centered on the 2023 Azimio protests. Did abductions start in 2024?
They started in 2024.
They started in 2024?
Yeah. The real abductions, and I can tell you.
There's no fake abductions.
No, I'm just telling you, when it became clear to me, is when 101 officers from the administration police, on the authority of the president, were transferred to the National Intelligence Service and given very extensive training, is when we started getting people complaining that people are disappearing. And I went into it, and I started seeing signs that are not good signs. And I faced the president more than 3 times. And he feigned ignorance. But when I came to check, I found he knew what is going on. These abductions were being done by the National Intelligence Service. And I had a problem with them because I am a very straightforward man. And I spoke very strongly in the National Security Council. And I said, Mr. President, let us not treat the symptoms, but diagnose the problem. These young people, we need to find out why they are complaining. Killing them, abducting them, is not a solution.
Hold on to your thoughts. We take a short commercial break. Do stay with us. The Wamunyoro bombshell continues in just but a few.